This is Philip Zimmerman. Welcome to the first eRotary Coastal Club meeting of 2018. I hope everyone had a great Christmas holiday and New Year's break and is anxious to get started back in 2018 and making this the best year ever for your life. The best year yet, because you can always make it better. Always make it better. And I think from an economic perspective and a country moving forward perspective, I think we're on the right track. Stock market's up anyway. Business is up. Things are looking positive within our economy, which would bode well for all individuals professionally. But being part of Rotary International, our focus is really on service. And so we want to make sure that while the economy is good, we take care of those who are less fortunate than ourselves and who may not necessarily be participating in this economic boom that others are experiencing, and reach out through our Rotary International activities and our eRotary Coastal Club activities in a positive way during 2018 to make an impact for the residents of coastal communities as well as others that we may come in contact with along the way. We'll go ahead and start off the club. Meeting is in the normal tradition of Rotary. Do a prayer pledge and the four-way test, and we start us with a prayer. Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for the whatever they call this thing, the cosmic bomb or whatever that is hitting our country. We're supposed to be thankful in all circumstances. So, Lord, we're thankful for the freezing weather that everyone is experiencing across our country, and we do pray for protection for those who are in harm's way, and that there is something that you're obviously doing that'll be good. It'll result in good out of this cold weather we're experiencing. So we thank you for it, and we look forward to the return of warm weather soon. Pray all this in your son's name. Amen. Then we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm happen to be driving right now, so I'm about to pull off in the next few minutes. But if you were in a room and you were chose to stand, that's fine. Or cover your heart with your hand, that's fine. I don't know if you knew it or not, but it's actually a law in our country. It's on the books that the citizens of the United States are supposed to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and military and law enforcement officials are supposed to cover their hearts with their hands, which is I thought was interesting that it's actually a law. But anyway, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. That's the Pledge of Allegiance. And now our four-way test. This is the Rotarian, call to order here of our really kind of the mission of Rotary is the four-way test. It's of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? May we in eRotary Coastal Club keep those four items in the four-way test close to our heart and in our minds as we encounter people along the way of our days, that we may live according to these principles. I think it's getting more and more important as our culture continues to shift away from truth. This idea of truth is something that I think that maybe we will investigate one day as a club where we would like to see that go. But right now, truth is fleeting, and it's kind of like our coastline. It's happening, and no one's really mentioning it. And that's something that we're trying to make people aware of at eRotary Coastal Club, is that in Louisiana in particular, we do have a fleeting coastal zone area, and as well as other places in the country are having coastal issues, as Albert Slapp, one of our members, in his talk made so evident, this whole idea of a blue sky flood or a sunny day flood when the full moon's in the fall, and they have cities along our coastlines that are flooding as a result of high tide and rising sea level. So just keep that in mind as we go throughout the year. Charles, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to you, and then we'll open up a discussion for what I put out in the email, a mission vision plan for 2018. Maybe Charles, if you can have everybody on the call announce who they are, and then we'll start our discussion.
Very good. We'll just follow the order of the listening. Of course, Philip has introduced our club. Craig, you're up.
Well, happy, prosperous, healthy, blessed New Year to all, and give us strength and guidance in reaching out to those who are less fortunate, as our mission is. And as far as 2018, I'll add this specifically. I was in a meeting right before Christmas with Reggie Dupuy, he's head of the levy board for Terrebonne Parish, which is probably the most active in the state, and their head engineer, and we were talking about the tour of the levees and the E-Rotary Club with him, and they're very supportive of that whole idea. And that's, of course, that's Charles's and Mr. Boudreau's backyard. But he said, if I may make a suggestion, I would suggest that you all get since you all are an online club, you might want to get the Rotary clubs, for example, in Terrebonne Parish, just knowledgeable about what you all are doing and maybe participate in some type of fashion. For example, the tour of the levees and the different projects they're doing down there. That was just one example. But I thought the concept of getting the local Rotary clubs more knowledgeable about us and maybe some interactivity there is worth discussing and looking into. So I wanted to throw that out there. And of course, there's numerous, that being said, there's numerous plans. Our plan for 2018, and that's why we're here today, is to talk about things of that type of nature where we can, substantive movement and ideas that we could pursue. And I don't have anything specifically other than that, other than the ongoing our concept. And as we talk, we'll come up with more ideas of how we can reach out for the coast and also the citizens of Louisiana. Charles?
All right. Thank you, Craig. Laura, you're next.
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
That's fine.
I do believe that the concept of reaching out to the other clubs is brilliant. I have not any ideas myself, being so new. I wasn't real sure what kind of information you were looking for. But I do like the idea of, even though we are virtual, to get together occasionally and do something like that, and that could lead to other projects that we could take on.
Great. Thank you. Rebecca?
Happy New Year to everyone. I, too, like the idea of reaching out to other clubs. Also, I think we should consider joining forces periodically with other groups that are already doing physical work when we do get together. I know there are a number of groups that do get together. My son's worked on a couple of them. They don't spring to mind right now, but they exist, and that way we're not reinventing the wheel.
Okay, thank you. Tyler?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, gotcha.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. I think being a distributed and digital club is, kind of both a challenge and a great opportunity. So working with local clubs is a great way to sort of expand the footprint of service. And I think we've talked before about some ideas for having sort of online resources as part of our service project. And I think another great opportunity would be just reaching far and wide and pulling people into our club who ordinarily wouldn't be associated professionally with coastal issues, but can have big impact.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Thank you. Val.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Thank you. Happy New Year, of course, to everyone. And we hate to say it, but it is a little warm in Key West this morning.
There.
my sister
snow.
lost her. My sister did lose her plants in Thibodeau, though. I'm sorry to say.
The leaf foul, yeah. What an below the belt hit.
The America's Wetland Foundation is going to recommend two possible projects here. And one is a digital project or an online project. We are going to amass, for the past 10 years through research, as many private or NGO or civic organization wetland projects that have occurred, and begin to build a comprehensive database of those so that people can see what both private investment has been and volunteer investment has been in the wetlands. We think by having this and promoting it will show the benefit of private actions to restore the wetlands, and it's going to be called the America's Wetland Conservation and Restoration Registry. And for us, anyone in our online club here or other clubs, they could participate by taking on some of the research and looking for projects that have occurred that we have not known about. We did some polling about 2 years ago that said the public expects the private sector and individuals to do things, but doesn't have any idea that anything's being done. So this is in response to that survey research that we did. We will also be working on some new projects, real projects, in the ground projects. We did one in La Rose, Louisiana, and we just have our 2-year report about to come out about its success. And by March, we should be available to announce those and can ask for volunteers to come out in Southeast Louisiana and spend a day doing some plantings.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good. Have I missed anybody? Is anybody else on the call? Anybody else on the call that I haven't spoken about? All right. Well, I guess I'm up. I just wanted to take a moment just to recap. It's been quite a year. If you can see my screen, this is our website. And if you can just run a quick math, that is each number that you see next to the month indicates the presentations in a given month for various reasons. But anyway, it's 17. So I don't know of any other organization that has fielded as many experts in one location as we have in the short lifespan of our club. And I know I always leave a Thursday meeting just absolutely blown away by the depth of knowledge and the resources. And kind of to Val's point, I think one of the things that we have the power to leverage as Rotarians is the ability to tell the world, not only are there significant things going on, but I mean, look at the depth of what's going on, and again, the expertise that's being brought to bear. But anyway, I personally, as a communications guy, I feel that one of our biggest challenges is just the lack of awareness, and Philip alluded to that in his opening statements. Our coast is encroaching; it's going away. It's a dire issue, and yet I think it was in Gary Cicchini's presentation where he said that a lot of people don't recognize Louisiana as a coastal state. I mean, that's shocking to know what we know and for our own citizens not to recognize, that we are in fact on the water's edge. But anyway, I want everybody to be encouraged and proud of what you have created. As this is sort of somewhat of a resource center now of all the things, all these presentations are recorded and archived. Many of them are accessible. So if somebody just needed a primer on, coastal issues, our Rotary Club is a great place to start. Also, to several of your comments, I think there's an opportunity for us to be visible at the district conference in April here in Houma. I'm actually on that planning team, and I want to see if perhaps we might not be able to have a small session to talk about, what it's like to do a virtual club, but also to speak specifically about, being sort of singularly focused as we are on the coastal issues. But anyway, it's great to be us, and I'm humbled to be in the presence of people with the expertise that each of you have. But anyway, I just want to let you know we're off to a great start, and we've done a lot of good. We've got a long way to go. But anyway, Philip, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Charles. I do want to make a couple of. Did I lose everybody? Charles, you still there?
No. Yes,
I'm here.
I'm here. Craig's here.
Okay. Yeah, I had parked and anyway, so I think I lost my video connection. But anyway, still got audio. That's why you call in. That's why I call in. Still got audio.
Yeah.
I did want to comment on some of the suggestions that were made by the participants on the call this morning or this afternoon. The idea of reaching out to other Rotarians and other clubs, fantastic idea, and I think that is something that we will need to do. I'm putting that down as one of these action items as far as our mission is to become more visible to Rotary clubs, and then part of that vision development when we get to near the end of this call is try to figure out exactly how many we want to try to get involved in this. I think it was Rebecca who mentioned getting involved with other service organizations. I think Linda talked about reaching out with other clubs, and I think Rebecca talked about doing service with other organizations. And I do agree that's an excellent idea. And in fact, we've had two speakers, Susan Bergeron with the Terrebonne National Estuary. Can't remember the full name of that. She invited us to come and participate with them on any project that they have upcoming. And we really do need to respond, I think, in a positive way of arranging something like that. We've had the levee board tour that got postponed because of the poor weather. Part of this virtualness and the inability to do things is that we're just remote from each other. I mean, I've been contacted by diverge here for a second off my list. Contacted by an e-Rotary club out of Canada that's trying to coordinate. There's 300 e-Rotary clubs in the world. There's over 32,000 Rotary clubs, of which 300, I think 327 or something like that, are virtual clubs as we are, and they're all experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing. And so this guy in Canada is trying to help us coordinate and figure out how to do this better. But one of the things is how do we actually set something up with Susan Bergeron and say we're going to be there on March 25th, and then actually show up, with people, as opposed to just having one or two people there, but actually show up in force. And I think part of that ties back in with other clubs, if we can participate with other clubs, so that when we do actually get involved in a service activity, we may only be able to have 3 or 4 representatives of our club be there because we are so diverse. But we can at least partner with another Rotary club that can actually bring a lot more people together to bear on the particular project we're working with. I think the other one was it was Seth Blitch or someone else that they were doing the coastal restoration activities all along the Gulf Coast, and they were having plantings going on almost every week. And again, that was another thing that we were invited to participate with them on. It might have been Jimmy Frederick with the Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana, or Seth Blitch, I don't remember which one it was. And again, from that aspect, I think it's a great idea that we just need to start doing that, either individually or collectively. And I guess what we'll need to do is, again, as we get to this vision part, what does this look like, is actually appoint someone as our service chair and to actually have that service chair set up the activity, send out a request for volunteers, get a volunteer list, and then just go with whoever we have and just do it. I liked everyone's suggestions, but these are just the ones I wrote down. Let me see. It was or to attract new members that are not coastally minded per se, but who have influence in the community. I think it was Tyler that was talking about that. I think that's another great idea. The ability to attract people to to our club who have resources available to them. They're interested in Rotary International. They're interested in serving others, and they may or may not necessarily have an interest in the coastal area, but they certainly could participate in what we're trying to accomplish in this. And so I do think that's a great idea, and I do encourage everyone, if you know of someone who would be interested in joining the club, whether or not they're not involved in coastal activities, please ask them to go on our website and fill out the form to put in an application. We'd love to get them involved in the club. Val's comment on private sector investment. I'll give this from a experiential perspective. I had at a school that I was associated with for 15 years. I got out of my professional career and I came back in a pre-K to 12th grade school for 15 years and taught at the school, and I was involved in fundraising for the school, and our headmaster was trying to get a grant from the Ford Foundation. And one of the things that the Ford Foundation made it very clear was that if we did not have parental support of the school to at least a degree of 90%, where 90% of the parents were giving to the school, and not just giving a little, but giving a lot to the school, he said that they really didn't want to participate in it because what they wanted to give money to people who were vitally interested in whatever the cause was that they were going to support. And so I think that's the same thing from what Val was indicating here, of trying to put together this repository of all the people that are putting private sector money into coastal restoration issues or wetland restoration issues, to make the public recognize that this is just not the government doling out money, but there's private money that could be spent on a lot of different things that's actually going in to invest in the coast, that this is valuable enough to people with private money that they want to restore this and retain it, just to demonstrate that this is just not Louisiana wanting money or whatever, that we got coastline, but we just want federal money. That's not it at all. This is a vital resource that's vital to people outside of the government, to private sector people. This is a very important resource that we're trying to preserve. So I think that's another great idea that's out there. And I think that we can help with that somewhat in the speakers that we have in our eRotary Coastal Club and the archives to work with each other. I think that Charles has an idea on that in regard to getting private landowners involved in this as well.
And let me just make a comment to your comment, is that no one wants to go to a party that's not well attended. So when we can show that so many people and thousands of people have been engaged in coastal restoration beyond government, I think we up the game and make more people inclined to participate.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. Perfect. So we just need to figure out on a vision part, as far as our club goes, what we can do during 2018 to help create something, to help you create something on that private sector investment recognition, because I do think it's important. Again, Charles has an interest in it as a private landowner, of trying to start an organization, or at least organize landowners to do this, to do what you're actually talking about, demonstrating, Val, through getting information, being a repository for this. Charles is really coming at it from the landowner's perspective of being one of those ones that you want to get information from, because they're actually doing something as a landowner.
Yeah, perfect.
So that kind of ties, I think, what I've heard so far. So as far as a mission for 2018, and when I say mission, vision, plan, mission is what we can do every day and by virtual meeting every 2 weeks, as a normal course of our business, our profession, and our interest in Rotary International, of the things that we'd like to accomplish. And then once you roll all that up of what we can actually accomplish during 2018 as part of our mission, then we can actually say, this is what it should look like by the end of the year, of what we would hope to accomplish. And that would be the vision part. Some people do the opposite. They throw out a big vision, they try to figure out what they're going to do every day to get there. I think that given that we're a new club, we're still having issues with just trying to get organized and getting a mass of members on the line, even when we have a telephone call meeting. So I think doing it the opposite way will be beneficial for us. So from a mission perspective, I'm putting down that one of the things we want to do is we want to reach out and get active participation, active knowledge and participation from local clubs that would be in the general area of where our members are located, because that would be the easiest thing for us to do initially in 2018. I think in 2019, we could then go to additional clubs outside of our geographic locations. But an active working knowledge and activities with local Rotary clubs. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and Charles, this is Craig. I mean, and Phil. Yeah, I think we ought to kind of bring it in a little bit. And you were saying that at least the coastal parishes and or within coastal parishes where we have membership already involved, or as I think Terrebonne, whatever, Jefferson, just. But I think we ought to define it that. I suggest we define it that way too. At least at this point in time.
Okay, so we got Terrebonne. You're in Jefferson, is that right, Craig?
I'm in Orleans, but we certainly cover both.
Okay, and then Tyler, are you in Jefferson?
Yep, I'm in Metairie.
Okay, Metairie. Okay, and then I'm up here in Baton Rouge. We got Baton Rouge, 3 or 4 clubs up here. We're a coastal area. We heard from our speaker a couple of weeks ago. Said, "Hey, we're on the coast, soon to be in the next couple of years." Val's in Key West, so Val, you can.
Well, I do know the Rotarians here as well, so yeah. I can get them to play and maybe help us research.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm trying to think of Stan's in Florida, so I guess he's in West Palm Beach.
That's correct.
Hey, Stan. Oh, Stan, we didn't get your input. What's your ideas for 2018 that you'd like to see our club get involved with?
How much time we got?
You got well, now, since you're coming in, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Go ahead, go for it.
No, I've been here the whole time
okay.
listening, so I know what everybody said.
So what would you add to that?
Well, a couple things. One is that let's see. Let's just start from the perspective of the expertise that is gathered around our table in the club. We're in negotiations right now with the Army Corps of Engineers to develop a center of expertise on coastal resilience. The Army Corps has a new initiative in Washington that is a resilience initiative that they're putting together. We are helping them do that, and I'm not sure how many of you know that we're also in negotiations with a merger with Florida Earth and University of Florida, and this kind of all fits together in kind of a complex of what we're developing. So that I think we can bring to the table. This would be a just wonderful venue to add to the comments that Craig made and others about this idea of how do you get expertise out there to people that need it. So that's one of them. The other thing that is happening is that we are developing a national program for graduate students on coastal resilience that is a joint venture between the United States and the Netherlands that kind of augments to our Netherlands program. And this will be for master's and PhD students, and so any way that that eCoastal could reach out, and I know that LSU is going to be, and Tulane probably would be the kind of two primary targets for, and I guess North Carolina too, because we got a member in North Carolina. But from the educational standpoint, that might be something that we could get involved in, of just making it available. The other thing that we might think about is just coming up with a sponsorship for a worthy student that might be interested in doing the program, from Tulane or LSU.
That sounds great. I'm up for sponsorship of a student. That we would do a fundraiser of some kind during the year to help sponsor a student and give out a scholarship of some kind. The promotion of the grad students at Coast.
Yeah, it's really cheap too, because we're looking at it's 10 days to 2 weeks in the Netherlands and 10 days to 2 weeks in the United States, and it'll be a joint team of U.S. students and Netherlands students. So one team that will be in 2 locations for a month.
Right.
And so we're looking at about maybe $2,000 for a student to do the 1 month, including airfare, and that's really cheap.
That is pretty cheap. We'll put that down there as something we want to have as a part of our vision of being able to support a student. We don't necessarily give a monetary level at this point, but I do like that idea as far as getting involved in the next generation of people who are going to be handling these issues that those who are in the boomer generation of this club are going to have to pass the baton to at some point in the future. This Army Corps of Engineers Coastal Center for Expertise on Coastal Resiliency, I'm not really sure how we can assist in that other than just having them being a resource for the club. And so maybe we can work on that as well. Just I'd love to have somebody from the Army Corps address the club. But we had Mark Wingate give us the his view on the coastal activities that the Corps was involved here in Louisiana Coastal Zone. But the Army Corps as a whole, if they're having a Center for Coastal Resiliency, it's more than just Louisiana. It's probably Florida Everglades, the East Coast as well as the Texas coast.
California too.
In California.
Yeah, so that might be a really good thing for the Corps to, from their headquarters unit that's developing this initiative, to kind of give us a report on how it's developing at the national level.
All right. I mean, very, very good. I'm gonna jump back in here to my list here. So, Stan, you are in West Palm, is that correct? West Palm Beach.
Right.
Okay, so we got clubs there at West Palm Beach. You can go visit the president's winter White House and get the president involved.
Yeah, I already had lunch with the one in West Palm Beach.
There you go. Let me see. We got Albert's up in Aspen. I think his office is in Plantation, Florida, but he lives in Aspen. He's active with some Rotarians up in Aspen. That'd be kind of a cool thing for them to get involved with their club. Just trying to think of what other areas we have that are outside of this area. I know that Lenore Cural's in Raceland. I'm not sure if Raceland has a club. And then I guess the Houma area, that'd be, I guess that's Terrebonne. I guess that would be all Terrebonne.
That's Terrebonne, but that's, Charles and Don.
Yeah.
And
Richard,
I don't know.
Richard Watkins.
Richard and Lee Schaefer.
And I don't know specifically, but I think Reggie Dupree. He mentioned there was 2 or 3 clubs in the Houma area.
There's 30.
And so I think it would be.
Yeah, I think from our perspective of being able to do something in 2018, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 geographic locations identified, and we'll send out a survey to the membership and see if what else we're missing as far as geographically. But if we could get into at least 9 other Rotary clubs or more, that'd be a great bonus for us. So that's the mission of reaching out to other clubs, participating with other service activities. I'm going to ask a question and just see if I get a volunteer. Is there anybody who's on the line right now who would volunteer to be our service chair?
I don't mind this is Val. I don't mind getting information to you guys when on the online registry. I'm not sure I can coordinate it among everyone, but I can certainly prepare the information and get it to everyone and put out, sort of what an appeal could look like for people to take on a little piece of the research.
Okay, that'd be great.
That'd be
great.
Good start.
So I'll call you later, Val, and coordinate
Yeah.
this with you.
And I'm going to have to get off in a second here, but this has been a good meeting. Appreciate everybody.
That's no problem. Attracting non-coastal members. Anybody have any suggestions of what we can do for that? Just invite others, I guess.
When you say non-coastal, you mean non-coastal locations?
No, just
non-coastal
they
parish.
They don't have necessarily a business interest in the coastal area, because most of us in the club right now have an interest, either business or otherwise, have an interest in what's happening along the coast. I think Tyler was mentioning, 5 people who are not necessarily don't have that current interest or that connection, because you'll be able to get a different point of view from them and the resources that they have access to.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that as part of our mission to invite, and we'll put a number as far as a vision of people who are out there. Okay.
Phil.
Yeah.
I would think that the Rotary Club is going to have a regional manager. Or I don't know how they break up the regions, but I mean, just like that fellow I was telling you about, Richard Grant. He was first in St. Croix, and then he still is, and then he became like a regional, and then he became a national. But if there's a regional manager that oversees Louisiana, Mississippi, what have you, anyway, that guy or that woman would seem like would be a good source of distributing information and seeing what other Rotarians or Rotary clubs or Rotarians may be interested in, just from a doing a good thing type approach. Whether the Gulf is lapping at their back door or it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles away. I was just thinking that the Rotary itself might be a good source.
Yes. Okay. I think that Charles mentioned a little. I'm going to put the Rotary International. Charles mentioned something in his brief comments at the beginning, which we're going to have a great opportunity to do exactly what you're talking about. We're going to have the district conference this year, which is District 6200, which goes from Lake Charles to Hammond and south, but it doesn't include New Orleans, which is part of a Mississippi district. The actual district meeting is going to be in Oklahoma this year. And so there'll be a lot of people from across South Louisiana in our area, and then typically at a district meeting, they'll invite not just the district governor will be there, but the district governor from the surrounding districts typically attend at least one day of the meeting, because they also go to the next level where they have an area, not a manager, but an area person, supervisor, kind of what you're talking about, who's over several districts, typically tries to make it to all the annual district meetings as well. So we may have an opportunity to do that. Let me see. Let me get down to Val's private sector investment. I think that what I'd like to do is from a activity from our perspective of trying to get involved in what's going on in regards to private sector investment. I'm going to just say part of our mission is to help Val speakers and future speakers to make sure they get in contact with Val if they have a private sector interest, that they provide Val the information that he needs to get rolled up into the database that he's preparing for viewing by people who would be interested in what's actually happening in America's wetlands. So a vision. We've got about 15 minutes left. Those who are still on the call, let's work out a vision. So if we said that if we go after this, an active work in knowledge and service activities with local Rotary clubs, what would be a good number that would be a vision casting that we would actually have done something with a local Rotary club and actually gotten involved in some kind of service activity with them? I'm just looking for number 5, 10, 15.
For 2018, I think we could certainly have some affiliation or association with at least 10 other clubs, 10 local clubs. I think that would be important to do.
Yeah.
I think 10 is very achievable.
Okay. Anybody else have a? Do I hear 15? Do I hear 15? I got 10. Can I get 15? Because there will be an upper limit. If I put out 50, I'd say no, we're not going to get to 50.
Okay.
I'm not going to try for 50. But 10 is very achievable. Does anybody suggest anything higher?
It's a good start.
That's a good start. Charles going for a good start. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Somebody's got to say at least 15. Maybe we got 20 people. Now, I guess 15 clubs would be a lot. Okay, so 10. Let's just split it now. Let's go with 12. Can't do 12 and a half. Let's do 12. How about 12? I'm going to go for the stretch vision goals. 12 clubs.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll second
we've
that.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 different locations to get those 12 clubs from. So if we get 10 to 12, that would be fantastic. Okay. On the participation with other service people who are doing service outside of the E-Rotary Coastal Club, how many service activities would you see us participating with other organizations?
Maybe one a quarter would be before, but the winter months you could maybe take that out. But I'm going to say like 3. Maybe
Okay. And then this is not necessarily that everybody in the club participates in this, but we provide an opportunity for club members to participate in the E-Rotary Coastal Club has committed to providing joint service with this in this endeavor. 3 is the number so far. Anybody got anything more than that or less than that? Doesn't matter to me. This one I'll go either way.
I think 3 is a good number. I think 3 is a good number. Yeah.
Is this Laura or okay?
It's Laura. That's not too much. It's enough that we can get our brains around it.
Okay. How about for our club itself? How many? Part of Sunrise Rotary. That's the club I was involved in. We had a Good Fellows, Good Samaritans was kind of like the one project a year that was our big project. We had lots of other projects we did, but we had one major project. how many projects do you think, other than this one, that we as a club want to actually participate in? Do you think we need to have a major project and maybe one other project that we actually do during 2018?
Hey, this is Tyler. I don't know necessarily about doing a major project in 2018, but certainly figuring one out would be a good goal.
Okay, so
I think that's a good point, since we're still getting our feet on the ground. This is Rebecca.
So we're going to identify a club project that we will become known for. That's the whole idea, is that when people think of E-Rotary Coastal Club, they're in a district meeting, they're somewhere else, and they know of our club, they know of our project. Oh, y'all are involved in that project. Okay, that's cool. We might do other stuff, and we're working with other organizations to help them, but we're really known for doing this. Now, Charles and I, on an earlier call back probably in May, when we talked a little bit about this, it was to develop a repository of speaker lists on these archived speakers, which I think is still ongoing, part of what we're doing. But we might be able to get tied in with something that Val's involved in, or something Stan's involved in that regard. I think, how about for minor projects, do we want to limit ourselves right now this year to just doing active service projects as a club with other organizations? Or do we want to do an active service project, not necessarily a major project, but do active service projects as they come along during the year?
You'd have to help me with that vision, because we don't have, to me, we don't have enough involved membership, in addition to the fact that the involved membership that we do have is really geographically so dispersed. I just don't know how I don't know how to do that. So maybe that's my problem. But you have to help me with that vision.
Let me suggest this, that we're going to get Val's already committed somewhat tentatively to being our service chair. Is that we will work during 2018 to define not just our major project, but to define how we will do service, how to get actively involved in service. And Charles, I'll let you talk about that briefly, if you'd like, on the calendar idea.
Sure. Well, I've set up a Google Calendar just so that we can see the dates coming, because I know even though we only meet every other week, those dates seem to sneak up on you quickly. So I've created a Google Calendar. I've shared it with everybody that's a member of the club. Hopefully you've gotten a notice of that. If you need help establishing a Google account, I can help you with that too. But anyway, if you can see my screen, you can see I just generically have alternate weeks. It says E-Rotary Coastal meeting. I'd like those to change to the actual topic for that meeting. So we'll meet again on the 18th. And rather than just E-Rotary Coastal meeting, I'd like it to be whatever it might be. But to do that, a tradition we had in the home Rotary Club that I came from was something called Rotarian of the Day, which meant that club members assumed the responsibility of selecting and inviting a speaker. So I think that's a compelling idea for a couple of reasons. One, it keeps us all engaged beyond just simply showing up for a meeting as we do. It gives you a clear, defined role, but it's also an opportunity to network. So, all of us have a Rolodex of people that we could easily invite. And again, while we're inviting them to be a speaker, we can also invite them to, consider membership in the club, whatever it is. So anyway, what I'd like, would hope to would happen, and what I certainly will implement, when I take over the responsibility of presidency in July, is to have the year as mapped out as we possibly can. Again, so we can anticipate what's coming up. But again, that responsibility should go into all of us, because each of you have your own a group of networks and contacts, and I think it'll make them a more diverse, more interesting, more in-depth group. And again, I think it'll also accomplish the goals of, expanding our exposure, to other entities outside of the group that already are involved. Also, within the calendar, I would like to suggest that those of us that are aware of events, so like, Stan had an event a couple of months ago, or wherever there's something going on, because we need to physically come together as well. And I know we did something in Baton Rouge, but I mean, part of the Rotarian experience is community. And that's what the challenge of a virtual organization is. We're not together at the Holiday Inn today. And, we don't get to share little anecdotal things of what's going on in life or show you my pictures of my grandbabies. But I mean, all that's very important to being a Rotarian, what we're doing personally and professionally as well. So in addition to the actual online meeting dates, I would like to intersperse that with physical meetings, at least quarterly, and whether we're gathering as a service group or whether we're meeting with another club or we're at a symposium that some other organization is sponsoring. Again, I would hope that we could offer those up and see those coming, again, so we could prioritize and make it something that we do and that that we're involved in. And once again, if we identify ourselves, just imagine the speaker. And hey, I'd like to recognize our E-Rotary Coastal Club members here. Craig, stand up and say hello or something. Again, that also works into our goal of exposure and expansion of the club as well. So anyway, here it is. It's just a calendar, that hopefully we can use. We'll continue to send out the notices as we do now. But once again, if you know something like who's the state rep or who did you invite? Philip, who's one of our future speakers.
It's going to be oh gosh,
I know my brain.
Garrett Graves. Representative for Garrett Graves. Representative for
Garrett Graves. Right. So when Garrett. There you go.
Also interested.
So when these guys speak, those are opportunities for us to open the meeting, to all Rotarians, again, who may come in to hear these particular speakers. But once again, they are then introduced to our club and so forth. So that's, again, is another reason for having a calendar that's well set. So we know, March 5th or whatever, so-and-so is going to speak. But anyway, we'll work through this. But those are just the two ideas that we had.
Good. Appreciate that, Charles. I think that calendar is a great idea, and I can see where we can. Again, we just have service opportunities that we're aware of. We can just put them on the calendar, and if we're in the area, we can make sure that we're represented there. That'd be a great thing. Lastly, I do think from a vision perspective, I would like to say that we will sponsor a student for Stan's program with the Netherlands, and
but
we go ahead, Stan.
I just had a thought, which is really dangerous with me. One of the things we might want to consider is especially if we could get a couple of other Rotary clubs to kind of jump in with us, and I know that West Palm Beach would probably do it, and maybe some others. Of say just chipping in 1,000 is to go to Rotary International and do a grant for the whole program, and that way, if you know about the multiplication factor that Rotary International does, this could be a really good thing. I'll do some math on it and show you how it works, because I've done a grant application before. And you end up getting 6 times from Rotary International what you initially put into it.
Wow.
So that this may be an avenue we want to explore of doing a major Rotary grant, and I would be glad to do the writing on the grant and that type thing, because I know the people to contact because I've done it before, and also we would have a Rotary Club in the Netherlands that would be a co-sponsor with E-Rotary Coastal.
Okay, well, I'm going to put down in the vision part that we'd like to sponsor. Again, I'm not going to put a monetary value on it yet, but work towards. But we're going to sponsor a student for your Netherlands program, and then for you, Stan, you need to get in contact with your West Palm Beach buddies at your Rotary Club, and find out when they're having their district Rotary grant training session. And they typically have 4 of them during the year, but you have to attend that session in order to prepare a grant.
Yeah, okay. I have.
And you have to do it every year. So so just find out. And so if you've done it for this calendar year, you're good. Starting in July, you've got to redo it all over again in July.
Right.
But I really like that idea of going after a Rotary grant, because I think that will give us a lot of exposure within Rotary International.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. The plan for this is, and then we'll tie this thing together, is I will write up these notes that I have. Let me just summarize them. We're going to have active working knowledge in joint service activities with local Rotary clubs. And then we've got 9 locations listed. We're going to establish a service chair. Val is agreed to be partially that person. He's going to help us get started with that. That will help us coordinate service activities with other organizations, and then we're actually going to start. We're going to try to attract additional members as part of our mission from outside of coastal interest, and so that's going to involve members inviting their friends or people that they know or people they meet at conferences or professionally to join us in the E-Rotary Coastal Club. The vision of this is that we'd have up to 12 clubs. We'd have at least 12 clubs that we've done visitations with and introduce them to E-Rotary Coastal Club and possibly done a service activity with them. We're going to identify a signature project for the E-Rotary Coastal Club, not necessarily do the signature project, but identify the signature project, and then to define how to actively get involved in doing service as a virtual club, because that's important for us to do. At the same time, the vision would be that we'd participate with other clubs or other organizations on at least 3 activities during the year. And then we're going to sponsor a student for the Netherlands program. The plan for that is I'm going to put all this in writing, submit it out to the club for review, and then solicit volunteers for actually going and visiting these clubs. And we'll start to develop the plan for actually implementing this so that we can accomplish this vision by the end of 2018, which will be the middle of Charles's presidency. So thank you, everyone, for your participation in today's call. I do like to keep things on time. Does anyone have any closing comments before we get off the line? No.
I guess, quick, what would be a good a limit or a target for club size?
For membership?
Yeah.
For 2018?
Or in general?
In general. I think we can get, I think, who knows? I mean, I would like to see us at least, do we have 30 active members by the end of the year? And so right now we have probably about 10 active members to 12 active members out of the 23 that are in the club. But there's about 10 to 12 of us that are pretty active. I'd like to see us get at least 30 by the end of 2018. I think we can do that, but it may be more like 20. But I think as far as the full size of the club, I mean, it could be as big as it wants to be. The Baton Rouge Club here in Baton Rouge has 630 members. Clubs used to be limited because of their how you would define who a Rotarian was. So you could only have 2 bankers, as an example. You could only have 2 bankers in the club, or you could only have 2 engineers in the club. That's how it was set up initially, to keep the club small. But people have gotten around that, and but I think from a realistic perspective of being able to do what we were trying to accomplish, 30 would be a great number for the end of 2018, and it's really, Tyler, as big as we want to get it. It's really up to the presidents of the club because they have to manage it. How big do you want to get, and to really be effective as a club? So what would your number be?
That's a good question.
Well, just to define it for 18, I think 30 active members would be a good goal. And to get 30 active members, we may have to have 60 or 75 members that are semi-active.
All right. That might be a high goal. So maybe 25 active members. Got me coming down. I'm bidding against myself.
And 75 members to get 25 active members.
Too much information. I'm bidding against myself.
All right.
All right. We'll look at that. I'll
Great
put
meeting.
that in there.
I'm going to have to excuse myself. So.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and close this off here. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I'll put all this together in writing and get it distributed. Charles, any last-minute notes?
Just always a pleasure, and y'all have a great week.
Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.